Welcome to Book by Book, your essential shortcut to the most impactful ideas hitting the shelves right now.
We don't just skim the surface. We dive deep into the pages that promise to change how you think, act, and live.
Welcome to our channel, Book by Book. Today, we are undertaking a really major summary. We're looking at a concept that honestly addresses one of the most draining parts of modern life.
That feeling of trying to control everything.
Exactly, that constant fight to control everything and everyone around us. We're diving into Mel Robbins' really powerful 2024 bestseller, The Let Them Theory, reclaiming peace and agency.
It's a game changer for a lot of people.
Think about it, just in the last few weeks, have you felt that constant pull, like you're fighting upstream?
Yeah.
That happens when you're, desperately trying to maybe micromanage a friend's choices, or you're twisting yourself into an emotional pretzel trying to get approval from a critical relative.
Or maybe at work, trying to force a colleague to do things exactly your way.
Right, that constant exhausting vigilance. Robbins says that is the root of so much burnout.
It really is. And it's more than just burnout. It's like emotional leakage. The sources we looked at, they confirm this. The core idea of the book is that most of our stress, our frustration, that bone-deep exhaustion, it stems from one specific thing, trying to exert control over stuff that's fundamentally outside our sphere of influence.
Okay.
It's this cycle of trying to control things, and it's an exhausting, losing game.
But the solution she offers sounds almost too simple.
Well, that's the beauty of it, right? It's deceptive simplicity. She
Right.
basically hands you this psychological tool. It's like a permission slip, really, to stop fighting reality.
Okay.
And it's all wrapped up in two small but really powerful phrases. The path to getting back your time, your peace, your personal agency. It's found in this mindset shift. Two pairs of words. Let them and let me.
Okay, let them and let me. And that's our mission for this summary. We want to clearly explain this core idea.
Yeah.
Unpack the 6 critical lessons Robbins outlines. There are 3 focused on, like external release and 3 on internal reclaiming.
Right. The two sides of the coin.
We'll explore the psychology, the neuroscience, the stuff that gives this theory its weight.
The why behind it.
And most importantly, give you, the listener, that full, actionable toolkit. We really want to help move you from that state of reactive chaos and exhaustion to a place where you feel more intentional control over your own life, and maybe most importantly, your own peace.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we jump straight into the lessons, we really need to nail down the problem itself, like understand the physics of this energy drain.
Okay.
Because if you don't fully get where the energy is going, the solution, let them, might just sound like apathy or giving up.
Right, like just throwing your hands.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the absolute opposite of that. It's about reclaiming power, not abandoning it.
Okay, so let's really define this energy drain Robbins talks about. Because it's sneaky, isn't it? It often hides.
Totally. We blame, the long hours, the difficult boss, the cost of living,
Yeah.
the usual suspect. But Robbins argues pretty forcefully that the real stress, that chronic frustration, the exhaustion we carry around, it's mostly caused by trying to control things we just fundamentally cannot.
Like what specifically?
Other people's actions, their feelings about us, whether they accept us or not, their choices. We cling so tightly to these outcomes we can't actually influence.
So like a colleague's bad attitude, or whether your partner will finally change that habit.
Exactly. Or even if a friend will take your advice, we invest so much energy.
Clinging. You used that word earlier. That feels right. Why do we cling so hard?
Well, the sources suggest it's this deep-seated need for certainty, for safety. We have this incorrect belief that if we can just control the external outcome,
And we'll feel okay internally.
right, then we can control our feeling of safety or well-being. But reality just doesn't work that way. People are going to do what they're going to do. Others will feel what they feel. And, the bottom line is you are only responsible for you. The second you truly grasp the impossibility of controlling others, that's when the door opens. That's liberation.
It makes sense. We're basically trying to micromanage the entire universe. It sounds exhausting just saying it.
That is exhausting.
Okay, so let's unpack the shift, this mantra. You said it needs both parts working together. Let them and let me.
Yes, critically important. They're linked.
Let's start with let them. What exactly does Robbins mean by that? How is it an external release?
Let them is basically you giving conscious external permission. It's an immediate decision you make.
Permission for what?
To allow others, your partner, your kids, your boss, even strangers online, to just be who they are, to act how they act, to feel what they feel.
So it doesn't mean I agree with them or that I like it.
Not at all. Agreement or endorsement is irrelevant. It's simply acknowledging their independent agency, their right to be who they are, even if you don't like it. And crucially, it means stepping back.
Stepping back from.
From intervening constantly, from lecturing, from that incessant need to fix them or influence something that is fundamentally not yours to manage. It's recognizing the boundary. This is me. That is them.
Okay, that's the letting go part, the external release.
Yeah.
So then the let me must be the taking back part, the internal move.
Exactly. That's the internal power move. It's the immediate redirection. The second you catch yourself trying to control something external, that's your let them moment, you must instantly pivot.
Pivot to what?
You redirect all that energy you were just wasting. You turn it towards what is actually manageable.
Which is?
Your responses, your boundaries, your commitments, and maybe most importantly, your emotional health, your growth, your peace.
So you can't just stop at let them.
No. The book really emphasizes this. You can't just stop controlling. That leaves a vacuum. You have to immediately start investing that freed up energy back into yourself. That's the let me.
That distinction feels crucial because just saying let them on its own could feel, well, passive, resigned, maybe even helpless.
Right, it could, but adding let me immediately flips that. You're not helpless. You're claiming your agency. You're becoming empowered in that exact moment.
Okay, so what's the real payoff here? Like the tangible result of making this mental switch? Why should someone put in the effort?
The payoff is massive. It's about shifting from being reactive to being intentional.
Explain that.
As long as you're trying to control others, you are, by definition, reactive. Your peace, your mood, it's all determined by the constantly shifting choices and actions of other people. You're basically a victim of circumstance.
Like a puppet on strings.
Pretty much. But the moment you embrace let them, let me, you seize back the controls. You become the architect of your own responses, your emotional state, your life path.
So you're taking charge of yourself, not them.
Exactly. It's a radical act of self-preservation. It immediately returns all that precious focus and energy and well-being that was just leaking away before.
It's not about giving up on people or situations then. It's about giving your power back to yourself.
That's it precisely.
Okay, this makes sense. To really get the gravity of this, let's dive into those 6 key lessons you mentioned. Starting with the first 3, the ones focused externally on letting go of controlling others. All right, lesson 1. This one feels tough. It kind of hits the ego, right? We spend so much emotional energy trying to fix people or change them or save them when they're on a path we think is wrong.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge drain. Robbins calls it the energy pit. And it's so easy to fall into.
Why do we do it so much? Is it always coming from a good place?
Sometimes, yeah. Often it's genuine love or concern. But let's be honest, often there's ego mixed in too, like the savior complex.
Like I know best.
Exactly.
So.
We believe that our advice, our intervention, is the only thing that can prevent their disaster, which leads to this exhausting nonstop investment in trying to change another adult human being.
Which usually doesn't work.
Rarely. The sources are really clear on this. Other people's behaviors, their thoughts, their choices, they are ultimately and entirely theirs. Your involvement in fixing their consequences, usually not requested and often actively resisted.
Right. They push back. And Robbins uses a really vivid analogy for this futility, the water glass and the ocean one.
Yeah.
I think that really helps grasp it.
It's perfect, isn't it? Imagine your personal energy, your resilience, your time, your focus. It's like the water in a glass, just one glass.
Okay.
Now, if you're pouring that precious water out, trying to change someone else, trying to steer their life, lecture them into doing what you think is right, it's exactly like trying to drain the entire ocean with a single straw.
Wow. Yeah. Impossible.
It's a literal impossibility. The only thing that happens is you completely empty your own cup. You end up drained, resentful, maybe bitter.
Have the other person.
The ocean remains unchanged. They're still going to do what they're going to do.
Okay, let's make it concrete. That example of the friend who keeps making, say, bad financial choices or relationship choices. You step in, you rescue them, you give advice.
You pour out your water.
Right. And they just repeat the cycle. And the emotional labor starts costing you your sleep, your peace. So what's the let them move there?
The let them response is the acceptance. It's acknowledging, maybe painfully, that this is their current path. Their consequences are theirs to navigate, theirs to own. You're essentially giving them back the ownership of their life.
Okay. But then you have to pivot, right? The let me.
Immediately. That's the crucial internal pivot. You take that reclaimed energy, which is powerful, and you focus inward. What do I feel is sustainable for me? What level of involvement am I willing to have? What boundaries do I need to set for myself going forward?
So maybe the boundary is, I love you, I'll listen, but I can't lend you money anymore.
Exactly. Or, I can support you emotionally, but I can't keep rescuing you from these situations. It's about what you will do, not what they should do.
And the key thing this does is free you from the guilt.
Yeah.
We feel so obligated sometimes.
Oh, hugely.
Yeah.
We feel obligated to rescue, and then if we fail, or if they fail anyway, we feel responsible for their struggle. It's a trap.
Yeah.
By saying let them, you instantly release yourself from carrying emotional burdens that are fundamentally not yours to carry. It's liberation. You get your boundaries back, which protects your own sanity, and you get your focus back.
So you can invest that energy in yourself.
Exactly. You stop trying to fix the ocean, and you start watering your own garden.
Okay, lesson 3. This one tackles disappointment head on. And I think this might be one of the most practically useful insights in the whole book. Really understanding the difference between expectations and boundaries.
It's absolutely critical because one expectations leads to constant anxiety and resentment. The other boundaries leads to self-protection and peace.
But they can feel similar sometimes, can't they?
They can on the surface. It takes practice to really differentiate them internally. Think of it this way. Expectations are outward focused. They are demands, hopes, assumptions about what others will do.
Like, I expect you to call me back right away.
Exactly. And because you're placing your emotional state at the mercy of their behavior, you're setting yourself up for frequent disappointment, anxiety, resentment when they don't meet the expectation.
Okay, so that's expectations. What about boundaries?
Boundaries are inward focused. They are internal rules. They define what you will and won't accept, the limits of what you allow into your life, your space, your energy field.
So they're protective measures.
Purely protective, designed solely for your own energy and peace, not to control the other person.
Let's use that common example you hear about waiting for a text back. You expect a close friend to reply quickly, say, within an hour.
Right, classic scenario.
And when they don't, you immediately feel that knot in your stomach. You start spiraling. Are they mad? Did I say something wrong? Am I not important? Yep. You've fixated on controlling the outcome, their immediate response. And that fixation is a guaranteed recipe for stress.
So how does the theory help intercept that spiral?
You use the mantra. You notice the anxiety rising and you say, let them. Let them respond in their own time, in their own way. Maybe they're busy. Maybe that's just their style. Maybe their priorities are different right now. It's their pattern.
Okay, let them respond how they respond. Then what's the let me
choose my peace over their pattern. That's the pivot. You might then set an internal boundary for yourself.
Like,
Let me check my phone only at certain times, or let me assume they're just busy if I don't hear back quickly, or let me focus my attention on this other thing that actually needs it right now. You're controlling your response, not their action.
okay. The analogy Robbins uses to clarify this boundary versus expectation thing is the yard and fence one, right? That really simplifies it.
It's a great one. Think of your boundaries as strong fences around your personal yard.
Correct.
Your yard represents your time, your energy, your self-respect, your peace.
Got it. My space. Your boundary, your fence, is never about telling your neighbor, the other person, what color they have to paint their house, or what flowers they must plant, or when they're allowed to mow their lawn.
That would be an expectation,
Yeah.
trying to control their yard.
Exactly. Your boundary is only about deciding what you allow to cross into your yard, what comes over the fence.
So deciding what kind of comments I'll listen to,
Mm-hmm.
or whether I'll accept last-minute demands.
Precisely. What emotional noise you'll tolerate, what critical language you'll permit in your presence, what behaviors you'll accept around you. It's a decision purely about protecting your sacred space.
Why is making this distinction so fundamental to reclaiming agency? Why does it matter so much?
Because it's directly tied to your sense of self-worth. Think about it. If you constantly rely on external behavior, a quick text back, a compliment from your boss, someone else doing what you want to determine your emotional stability or your value,
You've basically handed them the remote control to your feelings.
you got it. You've outsourced your emotional well-being. Boundaries bring that control back internally. They offer healthy distance, clarity. They ensure your emotional state is determined by your intentional internal choices, not the unpredictable whims of others.
Like emotional self-regulation.
It is the ultimate tool for emotional self-regulation. Absolutely key.
All right, the third external lesson. This one deals with the huge amount of energy we waste trying to force relationships, work relationships, friendships, family, to fit some specific ideal we have in our heads.
We do this a lot, trying to make it feel like it used to, maybe.
Yeah, trying to recreate a closeness that existed years ago, or forcing a friendship to have a certain frequency when life circumstances have changed.
It happens all the time. The let them theory really pushes for acceptance here. Accepting people as they are right now in this current phase of the relationship, and then choosing how we engage based on that reality, not on our wishful thinking.
Where does this kind of energy drain show up most often?
It's really common in relationships where there's maybe unequal emotional investment or where people are just in different life phases. Think about that really challenging dynamic between a parent and their adult child.
Go.
Say the adult child makes choices, maybe a risky career change, or moves far away that the parent fundamentally disagrees with or fears.
The parental instinct kicks in hard there.
Totally. The instinct is often constant intervention. Pushing, nagging, maybe criticizing, trying to force the child back onto what the parent sees as the right or safer path.
Which, as we know, is exhausting for everyone involved. It just creates tension and resentment instead of connection.
Exactly. So the theory requires a really powerful shift here. Moving from that constant intervention to acceptance, the parent has to consciously say, let them. Let them follow this career path. Let them make this choice, even with the risks I see.
That's tough, accepting the perceived risk.
It is. And then comes the let me. The parent adjusts how they show up. Maybe they choose to show up as unconditionally supportive of the person, even if they disagree with the choice.
So stop giving the unsolicited advice. Stop trying to control things with guilt trips or money.
Precisely. Let me focus on supporting the person I love rather than trying to control the outcome I fear.
Robbins uses another analogy here, right? The garden analogy.
Yes, and it's beautiful. Relationships are living things like gardens. You, as the gardener, can provide the best conditions possible.
Like honesty, attention, respect.
Good soil, water, sunlight, yes. But ultimately, you have to let nature take its course. You cannot, no matter how much you pull or poke or prod, make that flower grow faster or bloom exactly when you want it to.
And if you try too hard,
you damage it. If you try to force growth by constantly interfering, you trample the trust, you disturb the roots, you actually harm the relationship you're trying to help.
Okay, but what does this acceptance actually achieve for the relationship? Does it just mean you drift apart or become apathetic? That's the fear, isn't it?
It is the fear. But counterintuitively, the book argues the opposite happens. This intentional non-interference, this letting them be on their path, it actually shifts the dynamic away from tension and control.
Towards what?
Towards trust and authenticity. When you stop trying to control the other person's choices and outcomes, they feel freed. They feel seen for who they are, not for who you want them to be.
And that strengthens the connection.
Almost always, yes. Because the relationship stops being transactional based on them meeting your expectations and becomes truly relational based on mutual acceptance and respect for autonomy. You actually free both yourself and them to show up more authentically.
That feeling of freedom, of internal liberation, that actually brings us perfectly to the other side of the coin. We've talked about letting go of controlling others. Now we need to talk about claiming ourselves. Okay, so this is the crucial counterweight. Lesson 1 was about accepting that other people have agency. Lesson 2 is all about fiercely claiming and using your own.
Exactly. The core message of let me is totally non-negotiable. You might not control others, but you absolutely can control your reactions, your boundaries, your decisions. You are responsible for you, period.
So if it let them feels a bit like resignation.
Let me is the immediate infusion of personal power. Remember, the theory is designed as a redirection tool. You're not supposed to just sit there feeling helpless after you let them.
Right, you have to pivot.
Instantly, you shift from being a passive observer of their chaos to being the active constructor of your own peace. It's the difference between acknowledging helplessness and choosing empowerment.
Let's ground this again. Maybe in the workplace. That example of the listener stuck with a really intense micromanaging boss, feeling totally paralyzed, powerless.
Yeah, classic situation. Motivation tanks, you feel scrutinized constantly.
And trying to change the boss's personality is, well, we know from lesson 1, that's likely an energy pit.
A massive one. Impossible, probably. So the let me response has to provide immediate, tangible agency for you.
How? What can you actually do?
Instead of just dwelling on the frustration of being managed, you decide how you will show up and what you will protect. It's about defining your sphere of control within that difficult environment.
So, practical examples.
Let me set clear, uninterruptible time blocks for my deep work, and I will communicate those to the team. Or let me practice saying no politely but firmly to this non-essential request because my main deadline, the one we agreed on, requires my full focus right now.
Ah, okay. So you're choosing your response,
Yeah.
managing your schedule, your focus, your energy, even if the boss is still being annoying.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You are reclaiming power over your output and your boundaries, even if the external environment remains challenging. You control what you can control.
This shift feels almost physical, like changing your posture, which reminds me of the steering versus driving analogy.
That one really hits home, doesn't it? We're trying to fix or adjust someone else, the boss, the friend, the partner. It's exactly like being in the passenger seat, desperately trying to grab the steering wheel of their car.
Yeah, frantic, ineffective.
Totally useless and incredibly stressed because you don't actually have control. Let me demands that you stop doing that. Get out of their passenger seat, metaphorically speaking, and get back into your own driver's seat.
So you choose the direction.
You choose your direction, your speed, where and when you pull over for a break. That proactive choice flips the script from helplessness to competence, from victim to agent.
Okay, so this lesson is really about transforming yourself from being that reactive victim, just tossed around by others' choices, to being a proactive architect of your own life. Making conscious, deliberate choices about your most precious resources, your energy and your attention.
That's the heart of lesson 2, taking responsibility for your own experience.
Okay, next up, the theory gives us a really practical way to handle the actual feeling of stress, that physical drain. Robbins says stress isn't just random noise.
No, it's information. It's a signal. And very often it's signaling that we're trying to manage something uncontrollable. We're pushing against a reality we can't change.
And the let them theory acts like an interception.
Exactly. It's designed to be an immediate intercept mechanism. It stops that cycle of panic and reactivity before it fully takes hold.
How does that work biologically?
Well, stress in this context is often a symptom of that misalignment we talked about. Your internal need for control is clashing with external reality. It creates friction, tension.
Okay.
If you can use let them to immediately shift your focus back to let me, what can I control right now? You're actually interrupting the stress cycle biochemically. You're choosing to pause before that internal alarm bell turns into a full-blown emotional crisis.
Let's put this into a real moment, like a high-stakes situation. A heated argument, maybe with family over the holidays. Emotions are high. You feel your heart rate spike, that tightness in your chest.
Yeah, we all know that feeling.
Your gut instinct, your reaction is probably to jump in, right?
Yeah.
Fix it, mediate, make everyone agree, force a resolution.
That's the reactive path, driven by emotion.
Yeah.
The intentional response, using the theory, is to intercept that physical reaction first. You notice the feeling, and you consciously repeat the mantra internally. Let them. Let them say their piece. Let them have their perspective, even if it's wrong or frustrating. Allow the messy conversation to exist for a moment without your immediate impulsive intervention.
Okay, deep breath, then what?
Then comes the let me pause. Let me take another deep, grounding breath. Let me wait just a beat. Then let me choose a measured, calm response, if one is even needed. You're choosing to act intentionally from a place of calm rather than just reacting impulsively to the external noise.
This whole process, the pause, the redirection, reminds me of the fire alarm versus fire drill analogy.
That's a perfect illustration. When stress hits hard, it's like the fire alarm goes off in your brain. What does the typical reactive person do?
Panic. Run around, try to fix everything at once.
Exactly, which usually just fans the flames internally and externally. It's an impulsive reaction driven by the emotional brain, the amygdala.
Yeah.
But the intentional response treats it like a fire drill. The alarm goes off, but you pause. You assess the actual situation calmly. Is there really a fire or just smoke? You decide your next deliberate, calm move, and then you execute it.
And that pause, that moment of saying, let them let me.
That's the critical moment. That pause, even if it's just for 3 deep breaths while repeating the mantra, is when you consciously shift control back from your reactive amygdala to your rational prefrontal cortex. You regain your executive function.
The power in that is pretty immediate, isn't it?
It really is. By consciously choosing to stop reacting on autopilot, you restore control over your own emotions and actions. You basically build yourself this little internal island of calm right in the middle of whatever storm is raging outside.
Which brings us to lesson 6. And this feels like the ultimate payoff, the big prize. Robbins calls it the most freeing lesson.
It really is. The idea is simple. When you finally stop carrying other people's baggage, their opinions of you, their dramas, their expectations, the problems you can't solve.
You put down the weight.
You put down the weight. You release it. And by shifting your focus inward onto what you can control and nurture in your own life, you reclaim clarity, joy, and peace. You actively choose to let your life feel lighter.
It sounds like a basic principle of energy conservation applied to emotions.
That's exactly what it is. Most of us just don't realize the sheer volume of cognitive and emotional load we're carrying trying to manage other people's stuff, their perceptions, their conflicts, their needs. Releasing that is like making a massive deposit back into your own energy account.
The result being,
Less mental fatigue, less physical tension, less cognitive fog, more energy for what actually matters to you.
okay, let's use an example. That really common thing, replaying conversations. Like after a difficult meeting or a weird interaction,
Oh yeah, the meeting replay loop. Brutal.
you spend your whole evening mentally replaying it, crafting the perfect comeback you should have said,
Yeah.
worrying about what that colleague really meant with that passive-aggressive comment.
Hours and hours of wasted mental energy. It's a huge self-inflicted energy leak.
So how does the theory stop that leak?
The let them move is crucial here. Let them have their thoughts. Let them have their criticisms or their weird intentions. You mentally close the door on that meeting replay, it's over. Their thoughts are theirs.
And the let me.
The let me is the immediate redirection of that precious evening energy. Let me focus on resting. Let me engage in my hobby. Let me connect with my family. Let me plan my priorities for tomorrow. You actively switch the channel in your brain.
It's not just about saving time, it's about saving your sanity.
Absolutely. And the theory uses that powerful sunlight analogy here too, reinforcing where your energy goes.
Right. Attention is sunlight.
Exactly. Your attention, your focus, it's literally the sunlight your own life needs to grow.
Yeah.
If you're constantly shining that sunlight onto someone else's drama, their neediness, their criticism of you, what happens to your own garden?
It wilts. Neglected. Starved of energy.
Precisely. But when you consciously turn that attention inward onto your own goals, your own growth, your own well-being, you ensure your own flourishing. You are choosing your growth over managing their stuff.
The outcome seems pretty profound then. Reduced emotional drain, way more focus on your own priorities, healthier self-management.
It's the ultimate gift of making this shift. Genuine clarity, sustainable energy, and enduring peace. It's about letting your own life feel light again.
Okay, we've covered the 6 core lessons really thoroughly. But for our listeners who always want the deeper dive, we need to go beyond just the mantra. We need the structure underneath it. What makes this theory work psychologically?
Right. We need to get into the supporting concepts, the frameworks, the science behind why this simple phrase can be so effective. That elevates it from just a catchy idea to a durable tool.
Exactly. Our listeners appreciate the why, the intellectual rigor that makes this more than just, feel-good advice. So let's dig into the science Robbins uses to back this up.
Okay, the first, and maybe the most foundational concept we need to get really clear on is the difference between control and agency. We tend to mix these up all the time in everyday life.
How are they different?
Well, humans have this deep, almost primal, evolutionary need for control. Because historically, control meant safety, so we seek it everywhere. We try to control the weather forecast, the traffic, and definitely other people.
Right.
But Robbins stresses, and the psychology backs this up, that trying to exert direct control over other independent human beings, it's not just hard, it's basically an illusion. You can influence, maybe, but not control.
So where does agency come in?
Agency is different. Agency is recognizing where you do have power, where you do have influence primarily over yourself. It relates to the psychological concept of locus of control.
Okay, explain locus of control.
When we're constantly trying to control others, we're operating from what psychologists call a dysfunctional external locus of control. We believe our happiness, our safety, our success depends on factors outside ourselves.
Which makes us feel powerless when those external factors don't cooperate.
Exactly. True growth, maturity, mental health.
Right.
It comes from developing an internal locus of control, recognizing that you have agency over your mindset, your choices, your actions, your boundaries. When you stop chasing the illusion of external control, you can fully invest in the reality of internal agency.
So it's a necessary psychological shift,
Yeah.
not just motivational speak.
Absolutely. It's fundamental for mental well-being.
Okay, that reframing is key. But what's happening inside our brains when we're caught in that trap, fighting the losing battle for external control? Robbins talks about the neuroscience.
She does. When we're constantly trying to manage the unmanageable, predict, fix, change others who are resisting, our brain interprets this as a chronic low-grade, unsolvable threat.
Like being constantly on alert.
Precisely. This triggers the amygdala, the brain's fear and emotional reaction center, into chronic activation. We get stuck in survival mode, we become hypervigilant, easily triggered, constantly scanning for threats, which leads directly to burnout and emotional exhaustion.
So how does just saying let me actually break that cycle? It seems too simple to change brain chemistry.
It works through a process called cognitive reappraisal. It's a well-studied technique. When you consciously decide, okay, let them, this is not my fight, not my responsibility, you're actively engaging your prefrontal cortex, PFC,
The thinking part of the brain.
the rational thought, planning, and emotional regulation center. By activating the PFC with that intentional thought, you send a signal to the amygdala saying, essentially, stand down. Threat acknowledged, but we are choosing acceptance, not resistance.
Ah,
This immediately disrupts the stress hormone cascade. It slows down cortisol production. It restores the calm, rational state governed by the PFC. That's the physiological reason why people report feeling an almost immediate sense of peace or relief when they genuinely apply the mantra. It's literally calming the brain's alarm system.
that explains why the shift can feel so physical, almost instant sometimes. And we see the exact opposite of this let them idea playing out constantly at work, don't we? In the form of the micromanagement trap.
Oh, absolutely. Micromanagement is the perfect real-world antithesis of the let them theory. It's the ultimate expression of failing to allow autonomy.
Because it sends a message of,
Deep mistrust. It screams, I don't believe you're competent enough to do this without my constant intervention and control. And all the research shows this is devastating for motivation, creativity, and performance.
whereas applying let them in a leadership context.
By granting genuine autonomy, by stepping back and allowing people ownership, consciously choosing to let them figure it out, make mistakes, succeed on their own terms, leaders foster trust. They create psychological safety, and paradoxically, they often get better results because people feel empowered and motivated.
Makes sense. Finally, let's touch on how this theory helps with the natural, sometimes difficult evolution of our adult relationships, those pillars that shift over time.
Right. Healthy adult relationships, friendships, family ties, they aren't static. They naturally ebb and flow based on things like physical proximity, life stages, career demands, energy levels.
But we often struggle with that, don't we? We cling.
We do. We struggle because we're often trying to force a relationship to stay the same as it was during a time of, say, high intensity or mutual need. We get anxious or avoidant when things naturally shift.
So let them. Helps us navigate those shifts.
Yes. It helps us accept the current reality of the bond. If a friend becomes less available because of kids or work, if a colleague moves on, we let them. We accept the shift. We can certainly grieve the loss of closeness or frequency, but we stop trying to force the relationship back into a shape it no longer fits.
Which reduces the drama.
Massively.
Yeah.
It reduces the clinging, the resentment, the misunderstandings. It promotes emotional maturity by allowing us to accept the natural life cycle of adult connections without taking it purely personally or trying to control it.
Okay, the science and psychology really do add a lot of weight here. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's grounded in how our brains and relationships actually work.
Exactly.
But none of this theory matters if we can't actually use it. So let's move into the most practical part, the actionable toolkit, the roadmap for putting this into practice right now. This is where the rubber meets the road. This section is all about the practical, step-by-step guidance for taking Mel Robbins' insights and making them work in your daily life. These are the takeaways to move this from a concept in your head to a real habit.
Absolutely. And the first two takeaways are the absolute core. They're designed to be used in the moment the second you feel that old controlling urge starting to bubble up.
Okay, takeaway one, the core mantra. The instant you feel it, that frustration, that anxiety, that need to jump in and fix or manage something external, you have to intercept it mentally or even whisper it aloud if you need to. Let them.
That's the immediate cognitive stop sign. You're consciously acknowledging, okay, this person's behavior, their opinion, their choice, it's not mine to fix, not mine to control.
Got it. Stop sign, let them. But you can't stop there.
No way. Takeaway two, the immediate redirection. You have to follow let them instantly with the reclaiming part, let me. And ask yourself that critical question. What constructive action, what intentional choice can I make right now for my own benefit?
So what can I control?
Exactly. Should I take a walk? Should I focus on the one task I can actually finish? Should I write down my feelings instead of confronting them? Should I set that boundary clearly? The power is entirely in that immediate positive pivot towards your own agency.
Okay, Those first two are the rapid response. What about building this muscle over time? Takeaway 3, setting concrete boundaries.
This moves it from just thought to actual action. The challenge is to commit to setting one clear, specific, concrete boundary this week. And here's the crucial part. Commit to sticking to it, especially when it gets tested.
Give an example.
Okay, the classic work boundary. Let me decide I will not respond to work emails after 8 p.m. Simple, clear. But the test comes at 8:05 p.m. when your phone pings with an urgent message from a colleague.
Right. The temptation is huge to just quickly reply.
That's the test. You have to consciously say, let them send the email whenever they want. Let me honor my boundary and silence the notification. Let me choose my personal time. Consistency is everything in making boundaries real.
Okay. Takeaway 4, stop managing outcomes. This sounds like identifying specific drains.
Exactly. Pinpoint one specific ongoing situation. Maybe it's a family member's chronic health choices, a political debate you keep getting sucked into online, a project at work that's technically not your responsibility where you know you're trying to control the uncontrollable.
And then what?
Write it down. Explicitly state, I am choosing to stop trying to control the specific outcome. And then consciously, actively stop investing mental and emotional energy there. You have to replace the time you spent worrying about their outcome with time focused on your priorities.
Takeaway 5, replacing language. This one seems subtle but powerful, changing internal dialogue.
Very powerful. We trap ourselves with the language of obligation and judgment. I should have done X, or worse, they should have been more considerate. It's full of implied failure.
So replace should with
Replace should with chooses. It reframes everything in terms of agency. Instead of they should have, no, try, they choose to act that way. Instead of I should have, try, I choose to focus on this now. It immediately shifts the emotional weight away from judgment and back towards acceptance and personal responsibility.
Takeaway 6, 3-minute resets. This is for those moments of intense feeling, right?
Yes, there's acute spikes of stress, anger, or frustration. When you feel that reactive urge boiling up, practice the pause. Commit to just 3 minutes.
What do you do in those 3 minutes?
Breathe deeply. Slowly repeat the full mantra, let them, let me, focusing on the meaning. Allow yourself to feel the feeling without acting on it immediately. Only after that pause do you choose your intentional action rather than letting the impulsive reaction take over. It prevents so many regrettable moments.
Okay, takeaway 7, energy audit. This sounds like data collection for your own life.
It is. Dedicate one full day or even just an afternoon to being a detective of your own emotional energy. Actively track the specific moments you feel drained, frustrated, resentful, or exhausted.
And when you notice that feeling,
Stop and ask the diagnostic question. In this exact moment, was I trying to control something I cannot? Was I resisting a reality I need to accept? Write it down. The patterns you see will give you objective proof of exactly where your precious energy is leaking.
takeaway 8, allowing failure and learning. This is huge for parents, managers, leaders, anyone guiding others.
Crucial. You have to consciously practice stepping back. Give others a space not just to own their actions, but critically to learn from their own mistakes. If you're always swooping in to rescue, fix, or correct.
They never build competence or resilience.
Exactly. They don't develop self-trust. Sometimes you have to choose to let them stumble a little within safe boundaries, of course, so they can develop the strength and the wisdom to get back up themselves. That's true empowerment for them.
Takeaway 9, claiming freedom, the mantra. This is about making it visible.
Yes. Write down a short, powerful mantra that summarizes what this theory means to you personally. Something like, my peace is my priority. I manage what I can. Or acceptance over anxiety. Make it specific to your struggle. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. Your bathroom mirror, your desk, your phone, lock screen. It acts as a daily anchor, a reminder of the conscious choice you're making to live intentionally, especially when you start to drift back into old patterns.
And finally, takeaway 10, celebrating lightness. This feels important for reinforcement.
It's vital. You must intentionally notice and acknowledge the positive effects. When you successfully navigate a situation using let them let me, and you feel that sense of relief, that lightness, that increased focus, pause and celebrate it internally.
Right.
Because acknowledging and savoring that feeling of freedom creates a positive feedback loop in your brain. It reinforces the new behavior. It makes the theory sustainable because you're connecting it directly to feeling better. That makes you want to keep doing it.
Wow, okay. We have really covered a lot of ground here, digging deep into the source material for the let them theory. We went from seeing that chronic energy drain through all 6 key lessons, the science behind it, and now this practical toolkit. What this book offers feels like, well, liberation seems like the right word.
It really is. It's framed as an escape hatch, an escape from that exhausting, self-inflicted cycle of trying to micromanage everything and everyone, which just leads to burnout,
Yeah.
by really internalizing let them. Acknowledging what's not yours to control, and then immediately pairing it with let me, reclaiming your own agency, you make a conscious choice.
A choice to stop fixing others.
Stop trying to fix others, stop chasing outcomes you can't guarantee, and maybe most importantly, stop letting your own emotional state be a roller coaster dictated by everyone else's behavior. The real power is all in that intentional redirection of your limited energy and focus.
Let's maybe crystallize this for the listener one last time. What are the absolute core, memorable nuggets, the key quotes maybe, that perfectly capture the essence of this huge mindset shift? Things to hold on to.
Okay, a few key ones stand out. First, capturing that core principle of self-preservation. When you say let them, you make a conscious decision not to allow other people's behavior to rob your peace.
That's powerful. Rob your peace. Okay, what else?
Then the internal refocus, the part that makes it empowering, not passive. Control is an illusion. Agency is choosing how you show up.
Right. Focusing on what you can do. And one more.
And maybe the guiding principle for how you use your energy. Stop draining energy trying to change what you cannot. Start investing energy in who you can become.
That really sums it up.
Yeah.
Stop draining, start investing in yourself. So this book, it's not just advice or tips, it feels more like permission.
It is absolutely a permission slip. Permission to choose yourself. Permission to consciously let go of all that draining noise, other people's expectations, their drama, their judgments. Permission to step into your own power by focusing only on what is truly yours to manage.
The final message feels simple, but kind of revolutionary when you really take it in.
Let them be. Let you rise.
Let them be, let you rise. I like that.
And maybe, just before we wrap up, one final thought for you, the listener, to really carry forward and chew on this week. Building on everything we've just talked about.
Okay.
Think about your life right now. Scan through the different areas. What is the one area, the one specific draining relationship, or the one chronic situation, or the one recurring decision point where you have been fighting tooth and nail for control, but where, deep down, you really need to apply let them right now, today.
Just one specific thing.
Just one. Where do you need to apply it immediately to get some of your peace and energy back? Don't try to boil the ocean. Just focus on applying the full mantra, let them, let me, to that single specific sticking point this week. See what happens.
Like a really focused, powerful challenge, and a great place to leave it. Thank you for walking us through this incredibly helpful book summary.
My pleasure. It's powerful stuff.
It really is. And if this summary of the let them theory resonated with you, if it offered some clarity or actionable steps you felt you needed, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, Book by Book. We bring you helpful book summaries like this all the time.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button.
And also, maybe take a moment to share this summary. Think if there's someone in your life who you know really needs to hear this message of, let them, right now. Send it their way.
And click that like button too.
Yes, that like button really helps. All that support truly motivates us to keep digging into these books and bringing you the absolute best summaries so you can grab the key knowledge quickly and really understand it.
We appreciate you tuning in.
We really do. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time for our next Book by Book summary.